All right, so we are here this morning with our guests from MCSA, and today we'll be focusing a little bit on the homeless shelter and that service that is provided at MCSA. So this morning we have a couple guests with us to talk a little bit about that. So if you will, Jenny's been on with us before, but if you'll just kind of introduce yourself to everyone and let them know what it is that you do at MCSA, that would be awesome.
Okay. I'm JoJo. I'm the shelter manager at MCSA. And so I do case planning with residents that come in. I do all the shelter duties. I work on the partnerships throughout the community so that we can all work together for the clients. And basically,
just any of the needs that they have there at the
we like
shelter.
to meet them immediately. Like when they come to shelter or people in the community come in, we like to get their needs met immediately because we know they're all coming in with trauma, chaos, or you don't know what they've been through the night before. So
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, when someone comes to the shelter, you have no idea what has led them up to that point.
No.
So many times, I'm sure you see they've probably waited just as long as they possibly could and have been through a tremendous amount before people actually end up asking for help. So, so tell us a little bit about how the shelter works and just for people who don't know, aren't familiar with that process. You can come day or night. I mean, just tell us a little bit about that, about the shelter.
So when people without homes want to enter shelter, first of all, we meet their immediate needs of food, clothing, and shelter. And as soon as we get those needs met, then depending if they're going in the gym or the family shelter, gym is for the men and the family shelter is for single women and families. We get they have a bed to sleep in, and then the next day we do case planning with them, to help them, find out what the root cause of the problem is, so we can help them be successful as they reset themselves to sustain their housing again.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes a while. I mean, sometimes it's not like an overnight fix, because they come with so much, and we really have to dig deep to find out what the causes are, so we can help them be successful when they leave shelter.
One thing that I think is important, I hear this sometimes and it always makes me so mad. It's like, well, why don't they just go get a job? Or, that's always like people's first thing. And like you said, you have to meet like those immediate needs. And how can you think about going to a job interview when your family's hungry or when you can't, pay your rent or your mortgage payment and all of these things? You can't think about that far in advance when you have an immediate need in that moment. And so I think it's really important for people to realize that and to help someone get to the place where they can actually go and think about applying for a job and what they want to do and how to be successful. You have to meet those immediate needs first and make sure, especially for the families that come in, it's like if you're a parent, if you can imagine if your kids are hungry, you can't think about anything else until that need is met, or your kids haven't been able to shower in a few days because you've been, whatever, living in a car, or whatever the situation is. It's so important for people to understand that. Like, put yourself in that position and what you think would be going through your mind. You can't think about getting a job or, any of those things until you get those needs met. I mean, there's proof out there that you can't. You just can't wrap your mind around that until you're able to meet those needs of yourself and your family.
Right.
So,
and a lot of times, they have a gap in their work history for whatever reason. We have a partnership with Crossroads, and we have a program that individuals can go through that program, so they have at least some, a reference for another job, because you don't know why they haven't worked. It could be mental health, substance abuse. Maybe, a child is sick and they're not able to pay the rent anymore. There's a variety of reasons of why people come into shelter. So it's very important to get address their needs and what's going on in order for us to move forward to get them stably housed again.
Yeah, for sure. So tell us a little bit, I guess, about how the community can help in this process. I know you guys accept donations, things like that. What are some of the ways that the community can help with your program at MCSA?
With the shelter program, we're always in need of like cleaning supplies, towels, wash racks, because when people are ready to get housed, a lot of them walked away from everything, and when they come into shelter, they can only bring the size of a gym locker with them.
Okay.
So like move out baskets for them that has, cleaning supplies, shampoo, conditioner, other just things that, you wouldn't think
hygiene
of.
items.
Yeah, toilet paper, so we like to give them a move out basket to help with that. And then if we have furniture, we will do furniture. It just depends on if we got a lot in or what we have, but we try to help them be successful and, as a community work together to get the individual's needs met so they can be successful.
Sure. Yeah.
And there are a lot of people in the community, even landlords, that, come hand in hand with the clients and help find, a bed to sleep in, a couch, or just the bare necessities so it feels like a home to them.
Right. Yeah, that makes total sense. So there are different places within the shelter. Like you said, there is a place for families, women and children, and then a place for men to be separate as well, so that just for the safety reasons, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So when a family first comes in, you meet their immediate needs, but you also have programming to help them, like you said, kind of get back into their own home and start that process. So tell me a little bit about what that, you mentioned Crossroads. So if they don't currently have a job, they can start there if they have that gap that, maybe you need to fill. A lot of employers are like that. Well, why have you had a year with no, that's something that brings up questions. So able to fill that with the Crossroads. But what are some of the other things that you guys do to kind of help get them back into their own home and back on track?
So we begin with case planning, and that's where we kind of find out what the crisis was or what brought them into shelter.
Yep.
So once I do that, then I'm able to look a little further at what their needs are. If it's mental health, I can make referrals to the Robert Young Center. If it's, let's see, housing, refer them to city housing, any resource and referral, and with all the community agencies and entities that we work with, it's just getting those referrals out to wrap those services around them to help them be successful. And a lot of it is building a rapport with my residents. It's very, very important to have that rapport so that they trust you because, they've been burned or taken advantage of or something. So really it's about building that trust with the client. So whatever they're encountering, they feel free to come and ask questions or help me with different things.
Sure.
And then we have the drop-in center where people can, the drop-in center is through Robert Young, and it's open in the afternoons, like 11 to 5, and that's a resource for our clients if they need applications filled out. Just a resource for them to use the internet, fill out housing applications. And then the drop-in center has groups for stress management, anxiety, substance abuse. They're just a variety of things that we do.
Wow.
Yeah. It's also been a goal of ours to bring in more partnerships to our building. Like, as you can imagine, like transportation can be a barrier. Referring someone across town if they don't have a stable mean of transportation is kind of, it's not doing them justice. It's not setting them up for success. So we've been working to get a full service health clinic in our basement. So we have a vision clinic down there. The dental clinic was pediatric before, but now it's a family dental. So adults and children can be seen down there, and we can talk to our clients. A lot of the times, visiting a doctor or a dentist hasn't been very high on the priority list, understandable. So we work with them to get them scheduled down there. There's like a family therapy office down there through Family Empowerment and some other Robert Young offices. So it's a lot more efficient if JoJo can just say, like, come downstairs with me and meet with the dentist or something, rather than referring them across town or to a different city or something. So that has been like a really crucial part, and like inviting maybe like a SNAP or food stamp specialist to come down to the food pantry and talk to people that are visiting the pantry. Our goal is to make it like a one-stop shop, so that way we can get, like, obviously their shelter, their housing needs met, but then like what else can we do to set this person up for like a healthy future?
Yeah, because I mean, you want to give them that home, that place, that safe place right away, but you also want to set them up so that once they leave the shelter, they don't ever have to come back, because they have those things in place. They know those resources. And I talk all the time on the show about, we have so many resources in Muscatine, but it can be really overwhelming, especially in crisis, to kind of find those resources, if you will, and navigate to the right ones for what you're going through or what your need is. So the abundance of resources is amazing, and we're also grateful for that. But in crisis, it's hard to think straight. It's hard to think, okay, well, which out of these services do I need to call for this, this particular issue? And so it's great. The community is really coming together and kind of having that collaboration, so that you can make those referrals and they can count on MCSA to be a place that is able to help them do that and really set them up for success moving forward too.
Yeah, we've also, sorry JoJo, we've also made really good relationships with like the school district, the community college, the county, the city, and so that way if someone shows up there and that's when someone meets them and they say, like, I'm about to lose my housing, or like I've been living in my car, like whenever they disclose that, our goal is for the person that they're seeing to be able to say, I know how I can help you, and get them just streamlined right into those services instead of not knowing where to refer them to. So those partnerships have been really important for us.
I think they're a huge asset for preventing homelessness in Muscatine.
Yeah, and just using the resources that are here and being able to, okay, well, we already have that resource in Muscatine. What's the next thing that we should really focus on and either create a program or find those programs that can meet some of those needs. It's crucial, and I think it's going to really set Muscatine up for success in building those collaborations as well. So if you want to help MCSA, specifically with the homeless shelter, doing things like bringing in those donations, you can make monetary donations as well if you don't know exactly what to buy. But think of, if you're going somewhere and you only get, like you said, the gym locker full of stuff, the rest is things that they're going to need when they either move out or during their stay. So I always think of like the travel size things. I know those have been mentioned, travel size shampoos and conditioners for if it's a short stay or things like that are also,
very important.
Very important. And cleaning supplies, I'm sure, especially right now with the extra cleaning that has to be done, cleaning supplies are always, everybody could use those. And those are also something that's kind of, it's costly. And so when you set them, like you said, with that kind of basket that you give them when they're leaving, those are expensive things that we can help provide so that they can be using those monies for other things that they need.
Yes, that's the goal. So they can use the money for, to get the other things for their apartment or their new home.
Yep. So I am so glad that you guys joined us. I love learning about each individual program at MCSA and about the collaboration that's happening down there. It's fun to hear about, and it really makes me feel like we're moving places, like we're really going somewhere as a community with all the collaborations that are happening between all the programs now. So
TJ Deere here at Toyota Muscatine, and this is what it feels like to have a brand new Toyota.
It's the new car smell.
It's the new stories.
It's the new adventure.
It's the memories.
Come and see us for your 2020 Toyota.
Hey guys, it's Chef Bo, and today we're making a deep fried champagne chocolate covered strawberry with fondue. So let's spice up the kitchen for this Valentine's Day. With the challenge of Friday, how can I add the Chef Bo twist to it? And I kind of break down the flavors. Okay, we have chocolate, we have strawberries, what else goes with it? For the batter, I took flour and egg, salt, black pepper, cayenne pepper to give it a little extra kick, and used a sparkling Moscato for the liquid. Sounds like Valentine's Day already. Instead of having that, that cliche dessert of just a chocolate covered strawberry, now we have sparkling wine in there. We mix in a little bit of cayenne pepper, building up and elevating such a classic dish like that. For the hazelnut fondue sauce, I put both chocolate hazelnut spread and the cream in a small saucepan on low heat. Now it's a dipping sauce, so you want to have that nice little flow to it, silky smooth. We're gonna add the espresso powder to it. Remember, we're gonna treat it like salt. I didn't want to fondant myself to the limitations of keeping things just very simple. I wanted to fondue, go over the top with my flavor comprehension, so bring in that element of robust coffee flavor, which pairs well with every aspect. So now that our fondue is finished, we're gonna grab our berries and our batter. So I picked up some chocolate covered strawberries from the Hy-Vee, dredged them in flour before dipping them in the batter. If you've noticed throughout Friday, there's a lot of things that I repeat. The whole breading process, we always hit it with a little flour and then our breading. So now it's time to fry. I let the strawberries float in the oil. Important step here is we want to hold it. We want the outside of the breading to cook so it doesn't drop straight to the bottom and stick. I was looking for the strawberry to turn a nice golden brown before draining on a tray. I plated these babies with a little powdered sugar with the fondue sauce on the side. By itself, golden brown, not necessarily the most aesthetic color, but when you add that to that glowing red of a cooked strawberry and that burnt texture of the green leaf, all of a sudden it starts making a beautiful spectrum of color. Big reason why I like to use food as crayons, because we want to develop that color spectrum. Guys, I gotta try one of these for myself. Fry me a river, these are delicious. What I love about this, of course it's sweet from the chocolate, but then you get that berry fruitiness in there. With the breading, it cuts through that, and then the espresso tone that's really coming through on this is absolutely stunning. A very flirty, fun little holiday treat. Taking that classic spin on a chocolate-covered strawberry, it pairs very well with this sparkling wine. And this will perfectly finish the dish. Happy Valentine's Day.
Hello, I'm Tennille with R7 Reclaimed, located in Grandview, Iowa. We mix old and new goods together so that you can find the story of your home and let your home tell your story the same way R7 is our story. When you get here, you will find a mix of old and new goods that are put together so seamlessly you won't even be able to tell which is which. And not only that, it's going to speak to you and your home. It started with just my love for old chippy things and changing out what I had in my home and showing DIYs from our home. And we went on the road as vendors to get rid of a few extra things, and people started saying, "Do you have a store?" And so that planted the seeds. We are worth the road trip. We call it the R7 Road Trip. You can come to one of our big events and experience the music, the food, and the fun, or you can come on most weekends and enjoy a quiet day in the countryside shopping old and new mixed together in our beautifully reclaimed barn. So punch in 337 Cemetery Lane, Grandview, Iowa into that GPS and make the road trip.